أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ورضي الله تعالى عن سادة التابعين وعلماء العاملين وأئمة الأربعة المجتهدين ومقلديهم إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Of course, as I always ask you to do when you come in, as soon as you come in, share and like. Share and like. If you're watching on YouTube, like the video, please. And if you're not already, subscribe to our YouTube channel. The Nur-Zaman Institute is the name of the institute that we operate under in our efforts to disseminate knowledge. It is connected to Masjid Al-Mu'min of Pittsburgh. And so you find all the videos connected with Nur-Zaman Institute and Masjid Al-Mu'min on that page, on that YouTube channel. If you're watching on Facebook, share the video, press like. Also, if you're watching on YouTube and you're on social media, share that YouTube video to your social media. And while you're doing that, I need you to lock in that website at the bottom of the screen. That's Nur-Zaman Institute's website. Nur-Zaman is one of the nicknames given to Sheikh Uthman Danfodio. May Allah envelop him in his mercy. Ameen. Our website, our institute is named in honor of him. On that website, you will see a link or a tab for our bookstore. And you can purchase all of our books by that tab on our bookstore. Also, let me see something. Seeing something real quick. Let me see something. Also, you can, if that's your thing, you can go to Amazon, purchase our publications there as well. If you purchase any of our publications on our website, we ship the next business day. Or if you do it early enough, the same business day. And you need to look at all of these things as something more than just purchasing books for class. By purchasing these books, you'll be doing a few things. You will be supporting Black business. You will be supporting Muslim business. You will be facilitating the spread of beneficial knowledge. Also, you will be helping to cure the disease of self-hate. Number one, you will be supporting Black businesses. These are in no order. Number two, you will be supporting Muslim business. We Muslim, obviously. Number three, you will be facilitating the spread of beneficial knowledge. See, we're part of a movement, whether you all realize it or not, because the market has been flooded with subprime, un-Islamic literature in the name of Islamic literature. So in order to deal with that, we have to come with the opposite. As Sheikh Uthman Danfodio said in his book, Umdatul Bayan, more than one time, Dawa'u kulli illa bididdiha, that the cure for every disease is in its opposite. We have collectively, most of us are suffering from the disease of ignorance. And the way to fix ignorance, to cure ignorance, is to seek knowledge, to learn knowledge, to teach knowledge. And with Black people, we have the disease of self-hate. We have the exact extreme opposite of al-asabiyya. What is al-asabiyya? When people go to the extremes and loving themselves and their people and their collective pride, they think they're better than other people because of who they are. We're the exact opposite of that. We think we're inferior to everyone else, even though most of us won't admit it openly. But when you see us practice, just living our lives from day to day, Muslim or not, it's quite clear that most of us, we suffer from a collective form of self-hate. And so purchasing these books will help support that, because a lot of us Muslims, we think subconsciously, some of us even consciously, that Black people and Africans have never contributed anything to Islam. I mean, they're actually doing us a favor by accepting our Islam, accepting us as Muslims. And this is the way a lot of us act in America here. If we go to an immigrant masjid and they don't want to pray next to us, they do social distancing even before COVID, or they didn't return the salams to you, or they ask you a stupid question after just finished praying with you, asking you if you Muslim, you got a kufi, a turban, a miswak hanging out your mouth, a thobe, and leather socks and everything. You Muslim, right? They ask you that stupid question, right? A lot of us, that's a traumatic experience for some of us, that they didn't accept us as being Muslim. Yes, it's wrong on their part, but it's traumatic for us. Why? Because we claim acceptance from other people. We don't claim, we crave acceptance from other people. And when other people don't accept us, it hurts us deeply. And so as Muslims, when we become Muslim and the greater Muslim community doesn't accept our Islam, whether implicitly or explicitly, it hurts us, and it's a traumatic experience. And a lot of us can remember, we can make a list out of all of the experiences we had dealing with that. And the reason why it affects us so much, more so than it would, say, someone else, right, is because we have the disease of self-hate. And so we need the acceptance and the assurance of people outside of us. If we accept each other as being Muslim, for a lot of us, that don't mean nothing. You black like I'm black. Your opinion don't mean nothing. I need him to accept me. And this is the way a lot of us are. And so these books that we're selling, most of them, if not all of them, are written by African scholars. So it's a drop in the bucket. You know, we don't have a massive library yet, but at the same time, these are tangible proofs that Black people and Africans have contributed on a major level in Islam, really from day one. Most of our books and writings are really centered on one group of scholars, but even from day one, from the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right? So you'll be doing all of this and more when you purchase these books. And so I don't want you to think, oh, it's just a book like any other book. Nah. It's deeper than that. And we all have to participate in this. Well, alhamdulillah. Wa alaikum salam, rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Nadam, Iman, Isa, Mary, Abdul Kareem. You did your push-ups yet, huh? Malika, Nadira, Felicia, Khalifa. You order, will it be here soon? I should have sent you a tracking number. If all orders are out, so if you ordered that same day or the next day, Nadira, it went out. I can look and look in that tracking number for you. We always send an email out with the tracking number to whatever email you provided when you made your order. Wa alaikum salam, rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Khalid, Teresa, Zakaria, Ismail, Hassan Ali, Baron, Hakeem, alhamdulillah. I'm glad y'all here. Yesterday, we left off on page 43. We left off on page 43. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alhamdulillah, Teresa, you just received this one. Alhamdulillah. This part right here, yesterday, excuse me. I'm looking for something. Hold on. 1 second. I'm still here. Give me a second. Look at this. Yeah. Yesterday, what I tried to do, and I hope you were paying attention, I tried to give some real life practical examples of how and why would the Sheikh reiterate again about avoiding the people of innovation. So yesterday, I tried to remind us of some real life contemporary examples of people of innovation and how not doing what the Sheikh said in page 42 by avoiding them. And he said it previously in this same book, how that can lead to other harms, particularly when as it relates to women and children and family. And we have clear examples of that. I told one general story that happened so many times and is still happening in Philadelphia. And I told another story about a situation that involved me personally, right? That didn't happen in another place. And so this is why it's extremely important to we can't be like doing a Rodney King thing or the kumbaya, or can we all just get along? Yes, we want to get along. We want to treat people nice and with respect, but treating people nice and treating people with respect doesn't mean that you just blur the lines. Just because someone is nice and you treat them nice and with respect, that don't mean you're going to let them marry your son or your daughter, right? Or your mother. No. Just because a person's nice, that don't mean they should have access to you like that. And so we've seen in the examples that we used yesterday, because a lot of us, we refuse to come to grips with who Ahlul Bid'ah are and who Ahlul Sunnah is. And so so we did that yesterday. And so I hope yesterday y'all didn't just look at it like just I'm telling stories. I hope y'all were able to connect it, because it wasn't my intention just to tell stories for the sake of telling stories. So alhamdulillah, the author says on page 43, يا إخواني فاجتهدوا في تعليم النساء والأولاد والعبيد علم التوحيد والديانات وسائر المعاملات ومن علمهم سلم من عذاب الله وإلا هلك وأهلكهم ومأواهم النار. He said, "Oh my brothers, work hard for shahidu." Like jahid to shahid, the word jihad is in there. Like shahidu, work hard in teaching the women, children, and the slaves or the servants about what's the first thing he said? Ilmul Tawheed. The knowledge, the science of Tawheed. In other words, it is the responsibility of the father, the husband, to teach or to facilitate the teaching of his family and everyone under their responsibility. Us, brothers. It is our responsibility, us men, us brothers. It is on us. It is on our shoulders to teach our women, to teach our children. And, we don't have any slaves, but everyone else under our control, under our authority, it is our responsibility that Allah laid upon us to teach them. To teach them what? Ilmul Tawheed, first and foremost. What is that? Ilmul Tawheed. The proper Islamic belief. First and foremost, before you teach them anything else, the thing that's most important is that they have to understand the bare minimum of what it is to have a proper belief to be considered a Muslim. And that's real simple. How can I say? Like, you have bigger books on Aqidah. That's not necessary. small books on Akida. Because a lot of people try to use the excuse that, oh man, y'all keep talking about this Akida stuff. It's not obligatory on people to learn all of this complicated stuff. And the people that's saying that, they're the ones who's telling you what's complicated and what's not complicated. They're not submitting to what Allah said is complicated and what's not, what Allah said isn't complicated. And what Allah and His Messenger said is basic, and what Allah and His Messenger said is not basic, for lack of better words. And so, as believers, when we communicating with our family, teaching them the proper belief, they should know, number one, that Allah mawjood, that Allah exists, right? They should know that Allah is qadim. He's before time. He exists before the creation of everything. He has no beginning, right? He's back in. He's going to go on after time. There's no expiration date for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mukhalifatun lil hawadith. That He is different and other than His creation. That He is as complete knowledge. He is alim, right? That He is ghani. He is independent from His creation, or free, or however you want to translate that, ghani, right? That He has power. He has, Allah is qadir. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is murid, right? He has will. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that He is al-hayy. He is the ever living, who never dies, right? That He is a sami', that He is the all-hearing, that He is al-basir, that He is the all-seeing, that He is al-mutakallim, that He has speech, right? And so these things, these 13 divine attributes, even if people don't know how to, they don't know how to say it in Arabic, long as they understand all that. Long as they understand all that. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can choose to do a thing or not do a thing. That's permissible for Him. That we have to teach, and we have to make sure that our families know that all of these attributes that we just skated through real quick, that the opposite of those things, it's impossible, it's not permissible for us to believe in those things about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Like, for example, randomly off the top of my head, Allah is all-knowing, right? That Allah is ignorant, like Allah don't know something. No, that's impossible for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We have to teach them that the prophets and messengers, that they are truthful. That they are truthful. And that they are trustworthy. And that they deliver the message. There's 3 characteristics about the prophets and messengers, not just Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but all of them, that they are truthful. They are trustworthy. In other words, they ain't treacherous. And that they delivered the message. And likewise, with regards to the prophets and messengers, to believe the opposite of those things about prophets and messengers, it nullifies our faith. Believe that prophets are liars. To believe that prophets are backstabbing, treacherous, and that prophets didn't deliver what Allah told them, what Allah commanded them to deliver with regards to the message. Right? These things are impossible for us to believe about the prophets and messengers, because if they can have those characteristics, then they can be like that with regards to the revelation too, and that they share, in spite of the fact that them being prophets and messengers, they do normal, regular human things like go to the marketplace, they buy and sell, they get sick like regular human beings, as long as that sickness doesn't impact or affect the way or their ability to deliver the message that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded them to deliver, then that's understandable and acceptable, right? And so those things that we talked about with regards to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, those attributes, those are called the ilahiyat. Those things that we just finished talking about with regards to the messengers, the prophets and messengers, that's the nabawiyat. Those things are relating to the prophets and messengers. Well, the bare minimum that we have to believe. uh, and those things that are called the sam'iyat, those things that you hear the word sama in there, which means to hear, right? Those things about the unseen, particularly the hereafter, that there's no way that any of us could have known about these things except that they were transmitted to us. We heard about them through the prophets and messengers, like the hellfire being real, the paradise being real, the bridge, the sirat over hell is real, the weighing of actions is real, etc., etc. All of these things, right? It is our job to teach this to our families. And like, for example, before we began, I was talking about books, and I'm talking to you, and I'm just looking at one of our basic books on Akida, written by the same author, Usuluddin, right? Our publication of it is real short. This is Arabic, English. It's 45 pages. I mean, really, we could have translated it in like 2 pages. I mean, I'm not exaggerating. Uh, Part of it is like our 10-point Medina program, which is our, our program, our community building program, a photocopy of the manuscript version of the same book, right? And then the English and the Arabic side by side, right? Footnotes, you see all those footnotes all at the bottom. But if we would have just translated it without an introduction about the author, we would have just translated the book, right? And just no footnotes, you could probably put this on one or two of these pages. This book is very small, but it gives you the very basics about Aqidah. It gives you the very basics about the Islamic belief, the bare minimum that you need to have. What I like to call the meat and potatoes of Aqidah. Just the furur, just the usul. I mean, that's why the book is called Usuluddin, the foundations of the deen. It's not getting into any of those furur or those branches or those subsidiary issues connected to Aqidah. And he mentions in there that what's required, the bare minimum that's required from us, is that we believe and accept him. And we know enough about it to make our belief firm in it. Thank you, Imam Naeem, for standing up to Fawzan by explaining the truth to her. Alhamdulillah. Fawzan. Fawzan. Allahu Akbar. Alhamdulillah. So when the Sheikh said that we have to strive hard in teaching the women, children, and the slaves about the deen, and the first thing he said was ilmul tawheed, right? So that's the bare minimum we have to teach. And then we have to be mindful of the environment we live in. Because we live in an environment that is flooded with bad information about ilmul tawheed. So it's not enough to teach these bare minimum that I just skated through extremely fast, right? We have to repair, undo, and clarify all the bad information that's out there. Like Imam Amin explained this morning. This is our job. This is our job. We have to do it. Because there's people who coming in the guise of Islam and they're teaching beliefs that are inconsistent with Islam. Kutub Fawzaniyah. Them Fawzan books. Like those books. They flooded the market, Arabic, translated into English. They're in all of our bookstores. There's websites, nothing. Oh my God. And so it's all around us. And so as we're teaching our families the basics about the proper Islamic belief, they are definitely going to come across some information that's going to be contrary to what we're teaching. And so we have to be able to explain those things. You know, sometimes people always say, why you talk about this advanced stuff? And we're not the ones that they should be asking a question to. They should be asking a question to the people who put it out there, right? They're always blaming the victim. They're never blaming the one who started it, which is something I cannot stand. So that's extremely important. Then he said, and the religious sciences, right? He's talking about like the ibadat, like, you know, tahara, you know, purification, salat, zakat, fasting, hajj, and those matters connected with those things. It's the obligation of the man to teach that to his family, or at least facilitate it so that him and his family can learn. That is his job. The religious sciences, how to pray properly, how to purify yourself properly, how to deal with haid and nifas, you know, menstruation and post natal bleeding. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Ayub. That's his job. And then he said, wasa'ir al-mu'amalat, and the remainder of those human interactions that are like acts of worship also. Like, for example, buying and selling, marriage. How many, and these things are not being taught. How many times, and we talk about it all the time, on a Black Imams Roundtable, we talk about it on the Half Your Deen show. Many times we dealing with people who are trying to get married or who are in marriage or somehow connected to trying to get married or trying to get out of a marriage. They don't know the basic things about marriage, and they should know this as a Muslim. Because knowledge is supposed to come before action. So you getting married, you should know all the basics about marriage. There's people getting married with no witnesses. There's people getting married, no dowries. There's people getting divorced and they think they're divorced, but they're not divorced. I mean, it just goes on and on and on and on and on and on. But these things are the responsibility of the man to teach his family. Imam Naeem, was this train robbing movement specifically placed upon Black Muslim communities, hoping to instill the same impact as Black annihilation from America historically? It was a worldwide movement, but I think it was a sector of it was I'm looking for the word, given directly for us, marketed directly for us. It was literally a marketing campaign, literally. They had T-shirts and logos and slogans and everything. Let the Sunnah go forth and don't stop. It was funded. And even if the intent wasn't for us specifically, just like everything else in America, you know how they say when a white man catches the cold, or the white American catches the cold, Black America catches the flu, and other sayings like that. So even if it wasn't for us specifically, it's going to have a bad impact on everyone else, right? But for us, it's going to be way worse, because we have a whole lot of other pre-existing conditions that anytime you add another condition to that, it's way more exacerbated than it would. The effect will be way more exacerbated than if it was placed upon someone else. So yeah, they getting the same stuff is happening in different countries, even in Muslim countries around the world. This Wahhabi stuff, but it affects us a whole lot more and worse and harder than it does everyone else. I heard a sister tell me that her marriage took place over the phone. Wahhabi. I don't necessarily have a problem with marriages taking place over the phone, but you still have to make sure all the conditions are there. I mean, because you do have a precedence for it in the Sunnah. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he sent a letter to Najashi in order to get married to Habiba. So it's not necessarily the long distance part of it that's a problem. It'd be other stuff added to it that's a problem. So I don't think the phone marriage in and of itself is a problem, because even before telephones, you had letters. Like the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, like I just said, when he married the daughter of Abu Sufyan when she was in Ethiopia, he sent a letter, and Najashi, the Ethiopian king, performed the marriage. Habiba was in her house in Abyssinia, and Najashi performed the wedding in another location. He wasn't with Habiba, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was in Medina. Imam Amin said, "Let the sunnah go forth and don't stop it." Right? That's your man's slogan. We taking that, we jacking that. That's your people's, your man's in them. So a lot of these issues, for example, like in marriage, it's all jacked up because people don't know what they're supposed to know about these things. And so they get in it and they do it all wrong. And then they complicate the matter. If you saw my page yesterday, I posted, why do people go to one imam for a marriage and then they go to another one when they're having problems? Right? And some of us imams, we only get the problems. One imam, he get the walima, he get the invitation, he get all the good stuff. And some other imams, they get all the problems, the counseling, and that stuff, right? When you're dealing with an imam who's thorough, and you come to him, with marriage problems, if he's doing his job, he's not just going to deal with the issue that you bring into him. He's going to rewind the situation all the way back to the beginning, because you may have a bigger problem than what you think you have. And I've experienced it. You may not even be married. You may be married to a dude that you thought you got rid of a couple of years ago. And you in this next marriage talking about a problem. And maybe the problem is from the spiritual realm, because you wasn't supposed to be married to this dude anyway. Because your previous marriage, wasn't ended properly. You still married and don't even know it. And that's part of the problem with imam hopping. Because if you imam hopping, you're not really plugged in with a system. If you sit with an imam or a teacher, he's going to take you right from book to book to book, subject matter to subject matter, subject matter. But if you just hopping, you're going to miss some stuff. I can see that being acceptable in that era, But would you recommend it now with the way society is? Phone marriages are still prevalent in prisons amongst the Wahhabis and default Wahhabis. Well, they're gonna do what they want to do anyway. They're gonna have the one ida, one mens ida. They're gonna do all that stuff. So I mean, but we don't have that excuse, right? We don't have to use a regular phone. We can use Zoom or FaceTime, right? You gotta be extra careful now. You gotta at least know the person and meet the person. You could be a dude marrying a dude, right? This is the time we live in. You could be marrying one of them alphabet people. Facebook profile got one of them cartoon looking things. What y'all call them? Little cartoon looking thing, like the thing you made for me, Abdul Kareem. Be one of them cartoon looking things. You speak to them on the phone, pass the phone to the sister, right? Then you get married. You be married to a dude, right? Brother Abdullah married Brother Abdullah. Avatar. That's what it is. Avatar, right? Profile pictures of avatar. Then you like, yeah, I'm about to consummate. Yes, I'm going to her town, right? She live in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm going to meet this sister. I married this fine sister, right? You get down there, get to the hotel room, right? Assalamu alaikum, nigga. What up, nigga? What? Where my wife at? I'm here, right? Because you wanted to get married. You wanted to get married to an avatar. I don't have a problem with like phones or technology or anything like that, but at some point, the human interaction has to happen. And if you smart, you make sure be plenty of human interaction before the actual marriage, because you could be marrying anybody, and you might end up catching a case. Like people got a lot of time on their hands. A lot of people would be playing. Every time you get on the phone with your boo or your bae, right? You're really not talking to the real person. You talking to the sister, but you're gonna be marrying a brother, right? And people this is a game to a lot of people. You serious trying to fulfill half your deen and you marrying dudes? Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Adam, Levon. Like it's one, like in other words, it's one thing to meet someone on social media or something like that. But I mean, you gonna have a whole relationship on social media and not gonna meet the person? I mean, this generation is weird. Like y'all mentioning catfish, right? I see some episodes of that. Like, how you fall in love with somebody that you ain't meet in real life, right? This person just is my soulmate. He understands me, right? And it don't be a he, it be a she. Like you really gave your heart to somebody that you never met, never saw before, whatever. Like, but it's common nowadays. You make a whole TV show. How many seasons Catfish got? SubhanAllah. And you understand. I was living in Philly when they robbed that bank in that supermarket. When that happened. A whole bunch of swole dudes with abayas on, kimars and niqabs. You know, one of them died in that situation. And let me tell you how foul the Wahhabis are, right? All those brothers was Wahhabis. Go to Wahhabis masjid, right? They got caught and their brother got the shootout with police. He got killed. They wouldn't even bury him. They're like, whoa, we ain't bury him. we ain't doing that. We categorically deny and reject any person that calls himself Muslim for, robbing a bank and killing people, whatever. So they went to their real Wahhabi roots and made takfir on him for robbing a bank and killing a police officer, right? They declared him a kafir, in the press. and refused to bury him. And then the brother who died, he was trying to get with his wife. Her iddah period, her 4 months and 10 days, it just started. They was sizing her up. But she was pregnant, so he was like, never mind. That's the Wahhabi stuff. People of innovation. Y'all keep messing with them cats. But anyway, the point was here, where, like the Sheikh said, يا إخواني فاجتنبوا في تعليم النساء والأولاد والعبيد علم التوحيد والديانات وسائر المعاملات. And then he said, and whoever teaches them will be safe from the punishment of Allah. And if not, then he has destroyed himself. Listen what he said. He has destroyed himself and them, meaning his family, and destined them to the fire. Now, if you're looking at the book, if you have the book, there's a footnote here. And this is what we're going to read. The reason why Allah, His Messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the Shaykh who hold the man responsible and will punish him for the indiscretions of his wife and the remainder of his family is the verse of the Quran where Allah Ta'ala says, "O you who believe, save yourselves and your families from the fire whose fuel is men and stones." And we mentioned this when we first got into the section where he dealt with women. This is Surah Tahrim, which is chapter number 66, verse 6. All of the Mufassirin, the scholars of Tafsir, such as Abdullahi Denfodio, and Imam Amin got my book where I'm about to quote from, right? Well, it's not my book, it's his book. It's just an attachment to it now. He got it now, right? In his Dia Ta'wil fi Mana and Tanzil, say that we save our children, ourselves, by abandoning Allah's prohibitions. Tarkim Ma'asi, and performing his obligations, fit lil ta'ati. And we save our families by means of sincere advice, nasiha, and education, discipline, and rearing, ta'deeb, in the encouragement to the obedience of Allah. He then mentions a hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It has been narrated on the authority of Abdullah ibn Umar, may Allah be pleased with both of them, who said, I heard the Messenger of Allah saying, each and every one of you is a shepherd and is responsible for his flock. The Imam is a shepherd and is responsible for his flock. The man is a shepherd of his family and is responsible for his flock. And this is the part that concerns us. The man is a shepherd in his family, and he'll be questioned about. He'll be asked about. He is responsible for his flock, his family, right? The woman is a shepherd in the house of her husband and is responsible for her flock. The servant is a shepherd of his master's property and is responsible for his flock. I think he also said, and a man is the shepherd of the property of his father. This hadith has been related by Imams Bukhari, Muslim, and other than them. You will notice that Allah has commanded the man not only to worry about and save himself from the hellfire, but to also save his family from the fire. It is a basic and well-known principle in Islam that failure to perform an obligation is a sin, which makes the one who is negligent worthy of Allah's punishment. When the man teaches and trains his family regarding the proper belief and the remainder of the knowledge which is obligatory, then and only then is the burden lifted off of his shoulders. Even after this, the husband may still be liable and possibly punished by Allah for the behavior of his wife. This will be dealt with later on, inshallah. And that's the section that we'll get to tomorrow, inshallah. So, we have a heavy burden on our shoulders, brothers. And alhamdulillah, that's why it's important to marry sisters that will help you with your burden. Like, well, alhamdulillah, sometimes you can marry a sister and you can teach her. And she'll teach everybody else in the house. She made your job that much easier. And as someone who's been married more times than I would care to count, I've seen both sides of it. I've seen both sides of it. I can remember having a family class, wife and children. And I'm teaching Aleph, Ba, Ta. Got everybody to understand Aleph, Ba, Ta, A, I, U, right? How to write the letters and everything. I said, okay, this is your homework. I'm going to work. Wife, do the homework with the kids. I come back home after work. Did y'all do the homework? No. No? Why you ain't do the homework? Mommy watching TV. That's a burden. A lot of sisters, a lot of people in general are passive. You know, they don't have energy. They don't have the himma for this stuff. So, they just have whatever. Everybody ain't built the same. Right? But you got to remember, you have a responsibility. You're taking on a family, right? You're taking on a wife. You're going to have children. That's responsibility. Nobody put a gun in your head and made you do it, right? So if you're smart, you marry someone that's not going to make your job harder, right? So in that situation, right, I got to teach, come home, teach again, do homework, whatever, and the wife's just sitting there. Well, if you have a good wife, like my wife, Samira, right, I can give it to her, and I know the kid's going to get it. Allahu Akbar. That makes my job easier. And this is the way we should be thinking. Y'all sisters nowadays got it rough too. Because a lot of, like I said, it's not only certain brothers certain sisters that, just don't have no aspiration and just, you got brothers like that too. You even got brothers that'll be like, I just want to marry a good sister to teach me my deen. When I'm like, what? Ain't nothing wrong with a sister teaching a brother, but that's stuff sisters used to say about brothers. Now brothers are saying, man, my knowledge ain't really there. I'm just trying to get right. I'm kind of weak. Marry a sister to get me on my deen and teach me. SubhanAllah. So you get a brother and a sister to sit down together, and she'd be like, what you want out of a brother? Why you want to marry me? What you want out of a sister? Why you want to get married? I just want somebody to teach me my deen. He'd be like, okay, what you like? What do you want to get out of a marriage? Well, I want somebody to teach me my deen too. A brother of one of my cousins hit me with that Wahhabi stuff, sizing up my ex-wife when I was married, telling me, oh no, I just want to see who she is. So if she get lost anywhere, I can recognize her as family. I bet you do. Almost went to somebody's jail. That's top class Wahhabi Negro. Oh man. told him to leave my house and everything. That whole doctrine is poison. That's why you gotta stay away from the cats. Only be around them to teach them and make the deen clear to them, and then go about your business. I heard the story about a brother, right, Wahhabi, common person, went to a Wahhabi imam for counseling with his wife. This is a story that's funny, not funny, right? I didn't witness it. I heard it about secondhand. And after sitting with both of them, the Wahhabi imam was adamant, brother, that sister's a fitna for you. You don't need to be married to her. You need to divorce her. And you know how they talk, right? Add the extra baritone to the voice, that's talking cadence, the sister is not good for you. You need to divorce her. You need to preserve your deen, right? All that stuff, right? And so some time went by. I don't know how much time, but some time went by. And he saw the brother, the imam saw the brother. Said, how's things going? Did you divorce the sister yet? No, we still married. He got on the brother. Brother, why are you still married to that sister? That sister's a problem. She's blah, 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 whatever he said to her, right? So the brother took the Wahhabi imam's advice and divorced the sister. Then the next time he saw the Wahhabi imam, the imam was married to the sister. So really what happened was, brother, you need to divorce that sister because she look good and I'm trying to marry her. And I can't still be married to her if you married to her. So you need to divorce her. Can anyone guess where this happened at? Someone guess where it happened at? Philly. No, not G-Town. I'll give you a hint. Woodland Avenue. Southwest. This is a while ago. It's not recent. That's why it's important. Some cats are playing. They're using their knowledge, whether the knowledge is right or wrong. They're using the knowledge. Just be honest, a lot of people just using knowledge to get panties. That's what they're doing. To them, the knowledge of the deen is the tool that I'm going to use to get panties. During my day in Jahiliyyah, right, if you just wasn't a sociable person or whatever, you didn't have good human skills, you didn't know how to connect with people, you flashed your money. You had your car with your booming system in it, your rims and armor all and all of that stuff again, your gold chains and your rings and all that kind of stuff. You was flashy. But now in Islam, the way you be flashy, the way you show off in order to get the women is you show off your knowledge. And that's what people are doing. There's a lot of brothers just put it raw to you. A lot of brothers just panty collectors. Their knowledge, their leadership in their community is just to get more panties. And you will be wise to keep you and yours away from them. Whether they're Ahlul Sunnah or not. But especially if they're Ahlul Bidah. Because you get mixed up with them, you dealing with problems connected to your hereafter as well. But when people's playing like that, when you playing with marriage and lineage and children and passing on the deen to the next generation, when you see people playing like that, stay away from them. It's hard enough to raise a Muslim family in this environment by itself without us having people around us who just collecting panties. It's hard enough without all that stuff. So, alhamdulillah, do y'all have any questions about what we covered so far? Tomorrow, this next section, page 44, is dealing with hijab. And then that's going to be the last section where he's dealing with specifically women. And so I need some time to talk about that. So, inshallah, we'll be able to deal with all of that tomorrow, inshallah. Newark is rough. Y'all saying Newark? If I was to generalize, y'all people from Philly, if I was to generalize, and we know it's not literally every single person or situation, but is it safe to say that North Jersey brought Wahhabism to Philadelphia? Is that safe to say as a general statement? Or is my understanding of history a little bit, is something missing? I'm waiting for y'all to see if y'all got any questions. And my question to y'all is it safe to say that North Jersey Wahhabis brought Wahhabism to Philadelphia? In other words, brought it down there and, locked down the first Wahhabi masjid and then it spread out from there. Is it safe to say that? Imam Naim, if a brother has been unable to cover a mahar, does that negate a marriage? I don't really understand the question. Are you saying that they're already married, he agreed to pay the dowry, but he hasn't been able to pay it? Is that what you're saying? It's okay, Fawzan. Muslims are better than what y'all saying about them. We are good people. Yes, we are good people. We just need work. Wahhabi too. Yeah, they need work. They need work in their creed. See, this is one of those examples where you see Wahhabism has been spread all over the place, but it affects us harder because we got pre-existing conditions. We got nigger disease in us. And so Wahhabism came and it provided an avenue, a pathway, a facilitator, or like you're dealing with fires, an accelerant, right? That gave a legal justification for all the nigger stuff. Like that's why the 1 month's iddah it fits right into that, right? Yes, the hadith is there. Most of the scholars of Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah say don't act on it, but with Wahhabism in place, you can take a hadith and act on it independent of what any scholar says. And so you got a whole city that don't even know what a talaq is, but they all know what a khula is. And the reason why they know what a khula is because the brother can get the dowry back, and the mens can be, and the iddah can be 1 month, 1 month. So it facilitates niggerism. And that you wouldn't be able to do that if Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah was in place. But you need this hodgepodge, Mr. Potato Head, microwave Wahhabi Islam to be able to just pull a hadith out of its context and act on it, regardless of what the scholars have said about it, in order to be able to do that. You have to be able to make up your own fiqh on the fly, right? Oh man, I need to get married real quick. I was feeling this brother while I was married to this brother, but we got divorced, and so I can't be single. I need someone. Oh, Oh, yeah, I need to get with him. Oh man, but the idda, he talak me, and the idda is 3 months. Well, if you'd have got a khulla, then your idda would have been 1 month. Oh, my mens is about to come on. Honey, take me back. Why? I want to get back with you. Okay, I'll take you back. I want khulla. I want a khulla. What? Well, I changed my mind. I want a khulla. All right, you granted a khulla. All right. Well, give me my dowry back. Well, you ain't never gave me my dowry. Oh, well, I guess we even it. All right, cool. Anyway, my mens is on. Next week, I'm getting married. And that's what happens. Literally. I know a situation is literally where this has happened. A sister was married to her brother. He pronounced talak. And so she thinks her waiting period is 3 months. Meanwhile, she always had another brother on the side in the event of situations like this. You know, all of this haram, right? But this is what they do, the niggerism, right? So I feel like I'm being oppressed. I don't want to be stuck in a marriage with a brother that don't want me, and you know, and this is oppression. Does it have to be 3 months, right? You know, he don't want me, and I don't want him no more. I don't want him to be able to take me back, right? Is what they say, right? And then they say, right, I need him to take me back so I can get a khulla. So then my idda can be 1 month. I witnessed this happen firsthand on more than one occasion. So she gets, the dude goes for it, takes her back. She gets a khulla. And right after her next month, she's married to someone else. Right after. The reason why that's normal, because that's hood stuff. So we get caught up because we Muslims and all that. That's just nigga stuff. That's hood nigga stuff. When a dude break up with a girl, what the girl do? The girl try to get with his best friend or his worst enemy. That's all that's happening. It's just Islamicized. In the hood, somebody's getting with each other and they have a nasty breakup. The first person out of all of the men out there, all of the dudes in the street she can get with, the only people she see is his best friend or his worst enemy. That's who I'm getting with. And the same thing is happening in Islam, but we just calling it Islam. And Wahhabism makes it easier. You say, okay, you're not supposed to. The sister get a khulla. It does 3 months just like everyone else, right? No, we have a hadith, and the dalil is the hadith, and blah, blah, blah. What do the scholars say about that hadith? No, what do the scholars of Haqq say about the hadith? Fawzan, right? Or whoever, right? This is what's going on. If you care about your deen, your hereafter, your family, your children, even if you don't have a family and children yet, if you care about them, stay away from them. It's a recipe for disaster. Keep them real far. And if you one of them cats that say, I don't believe that, but you still go to their masjids and listen to them, you a problem. Because if you're listening to the scholars of the Sunnah, like Sheikh Uthman Dan Fodio, who we just finished reading, talks about, you're supposed to be staying away from them. Why are you going to listen to their khutbahs and classes and stuff? What's the benefit in that? You doing a science project? You in school? You in a university? You trying to figure out? You trying to itemize his speeches like this is truth, this is falsehood, this is truth, this is falsehood? That's your job? Why are you there? All right, I need to get out of here. Imam Naeem, in the 90s, I witnessed brothers take Shahada and choose the name Abdul Rashid. Then brothers had this big thing about telling dudes you can't name yourself that. Have you witnessed that before? I've witnessed brothers have that same dilemma within themselves. Brother's name is Abdul Rashid, and he take the Abdul off and then put it back on it. Alhamdulillah. But anyway, alhamdulillah. So there's no questions. So take the Shaykh's advice to stay away from that nonsense. Keep them away from you and your loved ones. Even if you bump into some of them people of innovation who are sincerely misguided, still stay away from them, because they may be sincere, but their sincere misguidance is paving the way from other people that are not sincere. And that stuff will infect and affect your family. Stay away from it. We have enough problems in this society externally with all of the influence and the alphabet stuff and just all kind of stuff coming at us, to be consciously flooding our plate with internal problems. We need to minimize that stuff. Keep them over there. Teach them the best you can. If you're not giving them dawah, trying to teach them the proper belief, whatever, keep them at arm's length. That's my advice. Some of y'all hard-headed. You're gonna have to learn the hard way though. Let's make a Fatiha for Sheikh Uthman and Fodio. Alhamdulillah, I pray this was beneficial to y'all. I know when it comes to marriage and we talking about these issues, it can get kind of animated and everybody got stories, but I hope you're not losing the point that he's making. The point that we covered today is that we have to teach our families so that they will be safe from these things. We have to make our families strong in the house. They have to, in other words, they have to be immunized. They have to be protected. They have to have their shots, before they go out in the world. So at least, even if they go astray, they know that their default training is proper Islam, Ahl Sunnah wal Jamaat. Even if they forget, they go astray, or they get influenced by someone else, that their default setting is not Wahhabism or any other kind of deviance. It's proper Islam, and you taught it to them. So I hope y'all didn't miss that point that the Sheikh is trying to drive home. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta wastaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Wal 'asr innal insana lafi khusr illa alladhina amanu wa 'amilu salihati wa tawassaw bil haqqi wa tawassaw bis sabr. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.